months. My right knee has been bugging me. So I went in, the action rays didn't show anything. So I'm pretty sure it's meniscus. So I'm just waiting for MRI. So I don't know what I'll do if I can't run.
Yeah, really, eh? I know that I have a few friends that are runners and they say the same thing, that they don't know what they do if they couldn't run.
Yeah, there's not too many things you can get that, that endorphin rush like you did in the boxing ring and that. And I think the only other one is running. So
okay, well, you know what? I'm just going to start running.
Yeah,
that's the advice that I've been given by the champ. You know what I mean?
There you go. Yeah, it's not the best for your knees, that's for sure. But
no, I know we're not getting any younger, right?
Yeah, that's for sure.
So we just try to buy some good New Balance shoes or something, good shoes.
Whatever we do, put some roller blades on. Whatever we're gonna do.
Yeah, roller blades. So what we're gonna do here, Graham? Everything ready to roll or what?
We are rolling.
Oh. Okay, so we're going to start it up then.
We are. Go ahead. Introduce your special guest. Go ahead.
Oh my gosh, we're already here. Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much, Graham. Thank you very much. This is Neil the Deal Show. Graham, thanks for having me out tonight. It's great to see you guys. Guys, tonight, like I warned you, and I hope you're all out there watching this, we have one of the greatest Canadian boxers of all time, an absolute fantastic individual, humanitarian. Obviously, me, I love humanitarianism. I think it's it's so humble. You have to be humble and kind. You know what I mean? Especially with the way things are these days. So everybody out there, thanks a lot for the likes. Thanks a lot for the comments. And here we are with one of Neil the Deal's favorite guys, actually. Never thought I'd be able to actually do this, but I'm so excited. Like, I'm actually like, yeah, baby. Guys, here he is. We got Mr. Mike Strange, 3-time Canadian Olympian boxer, represented us with bells and whistles every time. Absolute gem, this guy, like an absolute great person. So guys, Mike, why don't you say hi to everybody, and guys, say hi to Mike.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Like I said earlier on, I don't know, Mike, we earlier on we had probably a friend of yours, I'm sure he is, Scotty Bulldog Olsen. Do you guys talk at all?
Oh, quite a bit. And, we've been on a few shows together, and he was a guy that I looked up to because he's a little bit older than me, but I remember watching him at in the Olympics in 1988. And, that was kind of one of the reasons I kind of got into boxing, because of heroes like Scotty the Bulldog Olsen, but especially back in 84 was when the first Olympics I ever watched, the boxing part of it anyways. And, two of my idols growing up, Willie DeWitt and Sean O'Sullivan. That was the reason why I wanted to box and go to the Olympics, because of these two guys, just amazing athletes, and looked up to them so much and thought, I gotta work hard to be like them, and just an honor to watch them.
That's amazing, Mike, because I'm a Canadian, like we all are here, and I always like to support Canadians first, and I'm a big advocate of the Olympics. I love World Juniors are coming. It's one of my favorite tournaments every year. Canada's always had a pretty good team, and our boxing program is improved immensely over the years, I believe, just from what I've seen since I was a child to now. So can you elaborate on that? Are you helping out with any of that?
Well, I help out in my own gym. As far as the Olympic program, it's actually gone downhill probably since 2004, I would say. They've got some different people up on the boxing association and different coaches, and some of the stuff they're doing I don't agree with. They're making amateur boxers, if you're a national carded athlete now on the Canadian boxing team, you have to move to Montreal, which I don't think is a great fit. I understand we used to have training camps and stuff, and you'd go to Montreal for 2 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever, but it's your personal coach that actually got to where you were and winning the nationals and doing well internationally. Is because of your personal coach. You're not like a synchronized swimming team where you have to kind of gel together with different moves and stuff like that. So, I find when you send or you make them live in a certain place all year round, and you got one or two coaches that are coaching, you're tending to go to that certain style of boxing. But you got there because of what you learned from your personal coaches. So you may tweak it in some way when you go to these training camps, but to have someone go there all year round to train and stay away from your home. And, you know, cargo athletes don't make a lot of money anyways as amateur athletes. So you're seeing a lot of guys either quit or turn professional, or they're going to box for other countries. We saw that with Dwight Frazier's boy, actually, is a good fighter, and he was forced. They wanted him to go to Montreal, and he decided not to. Now he's competing for Jamaica. So you don't want to lose that talent. So I think we need to reassess all the stuff going on with the amateur boxing, because you know we went, you know, we had, remember 92, I think we had 11 out of 12 boxers go. 96, I believe we had 10, and then in 2000 we had 7, and that just went down and down and down from there, right? So you're not going to see those performances get better unless you improve on. I agree with training camps. I agree with going to training camps for a certain amount of time, but all year round it's not healthy, I don't think, physically or mentally for a boxer.
Right. Well, you had mentioned that the program's lacking. Is it the funding that's lacking, or?
I think both. You know what I mean? You only get you're as good as what you get as far as your performances are at definitely the big tournaments, which are world championships and the Olympics. I remember back in in 96 and 2000, and the women's wrestling, and we have women's boxing now, and the wrestling in Canada has gotten so much better because of the women getting medals. So that meant money into both programs, just not the women. So I think that's where we may get better as a Canadian team, if we have some of these women like Mandy Bujold, and there's a few other ones that could win medals at the Olympics, and they'll be looped in with the men's in that case, and that would help our men's program. You know, we used to, back in the late 80s, early 90s, we'd have training camps in the States and training with the Americans, the top guys there, and we went to a training camp with the Marines, and those guys are tough as nails. They'd be up at 6 in the morning. We'd still be sleeping. They have their combat boots running 10 miles. Right?
Exactly.
And they would come in the ring, and they didn't have the technique that we did, but they would keep on coming at us, and it got us in great shit because they wouldn't stop coming. So that's the stuff I think we're missing is those training camps and internationally, where you get a good team to spar against and train against. And the American Navy team was awesome, and the Marines as well.
Who set those up, Mike?
That was just through our Taylor Gordon was our national coach back then. So he had a good relationship. We went down, and some training camps were great. We got to go to Waikiki for 2-3 weeks, and we trained with the Marines there, and we'd be running on the beach in the morning. It was amazing. You know what I mean? Now, you got training camps, and they're in most of them are in Canada now, in the middle of nowhere, but you don't get that same sparring where you might bring up, the B team guys or the C team guys, which a lot of them, they're trying to kill you because they want to take your spot.
Right.
So,
it's like professional hockey, Mike, literally. Yeah. I used to talk to some of the old timers, and they'd say, well, if you were a rookie in the league and you came into the league, your first shift, like in training camp, you're in a fight instantly.
Yeah, you're taking on the
instantly. You're taking somebody's job. You're
taking.
Guys are fighting for jobs, right?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, you're taking on the big guys, right? Yeah. Like I watched Bob Probert's actually a documentary yesterday, and he was the same thing. He was a nut, you know what I mean? And
absolutely.
Drinking with the boys all the time, and every game.
Wicked guy though.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, really good guy. He had a lot of problems. He had some addiction problems and stuff. But overall, I know people that know him. I don't know him personally, but they said, he really was a gentle giant. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you're in that position, and you're doing well, and he made the All-Star team the one year. He's doing so well, and with I don't know how many penalty minutes he broke. He's the heavyweight of the NHL. Plus, he's making the All-Star team. It's unheard of.
Yeah, that's right.
And you hear guys like Ty Domi talk him and talk so good about him and what in his role and being a big guy like that, protecting his other players, plus scoring goals.
Yeah, you got to respect a guy like that. So listen, Grandma.
Sorry about that. But when he died, I'm pretty sure he donated his brain for concussion research.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. So
Yeah, it was sad. It was sad because it looked like he was getting his life back in order. He hadn't drank in a while, and then he loved boating and loved his kids, and he went out with his wife and kids, and he was just trying to fix the motor and ended up having a heart attack. So I think all that punishment he's probably put on his body with the drugs and alcohol probably most certainly it probably had effect, and with his brain too. Who knows? You see a lot of those fighters in hockey, and it's unbelievable what they go through in life in the future. And back in the 80s and 90s, we didn't know what a concussion was, and I was amateur. I never turned pro, and I'm happy I never did, because I've seen some of my friends that had turned pro, and man, you take that headgear off, and it's like an amateur pro is like going from a sport to a business. I had my Pat Kelly and my brother in my corner, in the trust. So if you're hurt or something, they're there to protect you. You don't have a promoter trying to
throw
make
the
money
towel.
off you.
Throw the towel.
Throw the towel, or using as sparring partners for up and coming guys. You know what I mean? So it's a business, and there's life after boxing, and
Absolutely,
sometimes
guys, absolutely.
Sometimes you want when you're at that age, when you're at the Olympics, you're like, I'm gonna turn pro, I'm gonna be a world champion, I'm gonna make millions.
Yeah.
Well,
It's a natural progression, really. But in your case, you chose to do something different, and that's a very respectable, upstanding thing, and it's very responsible on your part. I think that's words of wisdom from Mike.
Yeah, I had intentions of turning pro after the '92 Olympics, and then I stuck
did.
around, and I won the '94 Commonwealth Games in
Absolutely.
Victoria, and then
you won it, guys. He's the winner, gold medal winner.
Yeah. So then I decided to stick out '96 Olympics in Atlanta, and I got a bad decision, but I still finished fifth, and which was great. And then I met a mentor who helped me out with training and helped me out with funding, and so I didn't really have to turn pro. And I opened up after I turned pro, or didn't have to turn, but after I finished and retired from amateur, I became a bar owner, a real estate agent, city councilor now. So. And
then, I was going to say, so I understand you've actually you're a politician. Can you elaborate a little more? You've become a politician. Hey, I'm all in. I might be a politician too. I know that sounds crazy, but at the end of the day, I actually said when I was a kid to my mother, I want to be prime minister. Yeah. And she looked at me and said, well, you can do it, whatever you want. You know what I mean?
Whatever you want.
Yeah.
And I had no idea.
Put in the work and you can do it, right?
Yeah, exactly. And you use that work ethic that you were involved in boxing, and how much you had to train and how much weight you had to lose and everything like that. And you use it towards other things, and whether it be sport or work or whatever, you put that same work ethics into other aspects of your life.
So listen, can we talk a little bit about your amateur career? I have a question for you.
Sure.
Apparently, I mean, this is what I've heard, read, I don't believe everything I hear or read, put it that way. But apparently you had somewhere in the range of 350 amateur fights.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
That was the thing. I stayed amateur for so long. I went through
wow,
3 Olympics. So, and I was national champion as a junior. So you're traveling, some tournaments you're having 5 fights in a tournament, right? So it adds up pretty quick, and not turning pro, obviously.
So that's the culmination of all the fights you had as an amateur was somewhere in the 350.
Yes,
fights?
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So in a nutshell, if you were to gauge, all right, out of those 350 fights, say, right, well, how many did you win? 350?
No, God, no. That's the thing about amateur boxing too.
Nobody knows how many you actually won in those 350.
Yeah, no, I would probably say around the 310 mark or something like that.
Yeah.
That's the thing about amateur. When you're a national champion of any country, every time you go to a tournament, you're fighting the national champion of the other country.
Yeah, that's that's the problem, people. He's got to fight the best of everybody in the other country.
So, I fought guys like Oscar De La Hoya. I fought Arturo Gatti. I fought all these guys who became world champions. And, when you turn pro, your first 10, 15 fights are usually just ham and eggers, right? Well, you can't do that as an amateur. Every time you're fighting the champion of that country, and they want to win as bad as you do, and they don't want to go back to their country. And
that's unbelievable, man.
Yeah, it was great, and I love the team aspect of it too, right? I met so many guys who I keep in touch
Absolutely.
with all the time, and
Yeah, man.
I miss it. I don't miss the training part of it. I miss the guys. I miss obviously traveling was amazing. You know, like working, you travel to about 50 countries all over the world and compete. And with that red and white, and you know, a lot of the times you're up on the top of the podium with your flag being raised, your national anthem blaring, and
Unbelievable.
you're
What a
bawling
feeling.
your eyes out because you're so
What a
proud of
feeling.
that.
Like, okay, Mike, does it get any better than that? Being the flag bearer at the 98 games?
Yeah,
Commonwealth
I was
games. What
like,
was that like?
Well, I was going in at the 98 Commonwealth Games and a favorite, but it was like, okay, I wanted to be the first Canadian boxer to win back-to-back gold medals at Commonwealth Games. So I ended up winning the gold medal, and man, it was
He won. He's a
really
winner. I love this guy.
Yeah, so I won it, and then the chef de mission, the manager of the whole team, came in the 2 days later when it was kind of, they were deciding, and they asked me to come down, but I knew our team had a few bit of pops too after our finals and stuff like to celebrate. So I didn't know whether we were getting in trouble or what was happening, but she goes,
whatever, man.
Be honored
you deserve it, that's for sure.
Yeah, we would be honored if you'd be the flag bearer at the closing ceremony. So just
wow.
Just amazing to be the first boxer to be able to do that. It was crazy in Canada.
Yeah. I guess did you actually videotape it or anything, or did something like?
Well, we have it on part of that CBC montage.
Yeah.
You know, they never had all those.
Did you? I don't know if you realized, Mike, but we were all looking at you.
Yeah, yeah. We back then. That's the thing. You didn't have
like everybody was following you. By the way,
right? You never had the phones that you could videotape.
Like, whoa, there's Mike Strange.
Now you can do
ruling the country,
with your phone, right? You know, you can do Facebook Live and whatever it is. Yeah. It's crazy how far technology has come. Really is.
Yeah. It's really, honestly, I couldn't even imagine the feeling you had. Like yeah, I mean, you won the medals. You did, like, the podium's one thing, but was that kind of the highlight of your personal Canadian
back, but then to go to three Canadian
consecutive Olympics,
Canadian to go to 3 Olympics for boxing was pretty amazing. And I think I was on kind of my, I going into Sydney, and when they do the draws, just like picking bingo balls out, right? Mike, you're number 8 in the world, you're boxing number 3 in the world. And I lost a close fight to a guy from Turkey, but he deserved to win. And that was kind of that was kind of the end of it. But you know what? It was just an amazing journey to be able to do that. And you're like, a lot of some people are lucky enough to go to 1, and I was so fortunate to be able to go to 3, which is unheard of in the sport of boxing.
It is unheard of. Guys out there, people, everybody around the world watching Mike tonight, it's an accomplishment beyond all accomplishments. That's what I think, because I have a lot of friends who are professional athletes, professional musicians, professional movie stars, whatever you want to call them. But the Olympic athletes, to me, are the cream of the crop, and you guys are unbelievable. And you got to love these kind of guys. They represent us in the best way possible on all levels, right from the ground to the top of the mountain. So let's talk a little bit more about that, Mike.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It's a tough time right now for this pandemic. They postponed the Olympics now, and there's still qualification matches for, I know, boxing and wrestling and some other sports. And it's tough for these athletes. Can you imagine a boxer, someone that's qualified for the Olympics, and they were supposed to go to Tokyo, and all of a sudden, something unheard of.
You've been training for 5 years or 10 years, and all of a sudden your dreams are. And
there's been incidents where guys on the national team before 92, if you were on the Canadian national team, basically it was their choice whether to send you to the Olympics or not. And there were some boxers that didn't end up going in a few Olympics that they just didn't choose because of funds or whatever it is. But taken away, the person's been through all those matches, and they think they qualify, and then you get taken away from you. And then in 92, you had to qualify not even Canada, but then you had to qualify through North America and South America as well. So it's tough to lose it that way. But then when you're qualified, and then you have something like this taken away from you, and
no, it is.
Hopefully it'll all happen in 2021.
Very sad. To me, it's sad because the athletes themselves, we're all suffering. Everybody's suffering. So, guys, just stay strong. Keep the faith. We have a bright future out there. I always say, Mike, This will end, and
Yep.
things are going to change.
Yeah, we'll be looking.
It is
at
going to
the-
change,
we'll
Mike.
be
We all
looking
know.
at the
Right?
rearview mirror, that's for sure. But we just
That's
gotta-
right.
Until
Always
that
come out,
happens,
guys. Always come out of any situation better on the other side, right, Mike?
That's right. You know what? And I know 2 years from now, we'll be like, oh, do you remember we used to have to wear
Yeah.
these masks and stuff 2 years to be like
I know.
masks?
The
You know,
kids will
young
look us
kids
up
will be
and
like,
go,
why you wore
"Yeah,
masks?
why were you doing
Crazy."
that?" All right, so let's just move on a little bit more. I wanted to ask you something about your two idols growing up. The two idols was Mr. DeWitt and Mr. O'Sullivan. Did you ever have a chance to spar with those guys or anything?
No, they were way.
Like, in
above
charity
me.
events or something?
No, I met
Goofing around,
Sean.
goofing around.
Yeah, I met Sean a few times, and unfortunately, we've been talking about concussion syndrome, and man, he was like the best amateur I've ever seen. You know what I mean? Going,
He was
the World
phenomenal.
Games in Montreal, beating a Cuban, like he was it.
He
And
was
then
serious.
you turn pro, and sometimes you get those guys, and you get rushed too fast. And I remember him
Yeah.
fighting.
That's
Simon
kind of what I
Brown.
thought, Mike. He got a
Yeah.
little rushed fast. I'm not saying he did the wrong thing by any means,
Yeah.
but I did remember how many fights he had, like a lot of fights in a very small span of years, right? And
Yeah,
I mean,
and
I'm
I know
not a
Sugar Ray
doctor,
Leonard-
but
Yeah, Sugar Ray Leonard was helping him out at the
yeah,
time.
Leonard was helping him out. Yeah,
Man, I just remember watching his Swiss Chalet commercials. Eat
Yeah,
your
yeah.
chicken, Sean. Remember his
Yeah.
mom? And I was
Yeah, I
like,
love
wow,
that.
I just want to be like Sean O'Sullivan one day. And then, seeing Willie DeWitt, and there's a guy who went the other way. He won a silver medal, and then he
Yeah.
had some Houston, Texas oil riggers give him like $1 million signing bonus. And,
sure.
and then I remember him fighting Burt Cooper. Oh my God.
Yeah, we talked about Burt Cooper, and that was honestly, Mike. I felt that was probably me. I hate to say it, Willie. I love the guy. Honestly, the bottom of my heart. But whoever made that decision to have Cooper in there made a big mistake, because that guy's
Yeah,
that
I
was bad,
remember
Mike.
watching it, and Joe Frazier was coaching Burt Cooper.
That's right.
And Joe Frazier was saying, I don't know why they're taking this fight. This is not a good fight. And he's given them
Right.
the day before, and he's like, I don't
It
know.
was
And he
what, his
came
second
out, and
professional
I just remember
fight?
on the canvas, and his
Broke his
blood
nose?
squirting out of his nose.
Everything.
And I'm like,
We talked about that, Mike. Honestly, the crowd was going absolutely bananas, if you remember. They all had cowboy hats on.
yeah,
They all had the Tony Kornheiser flags going.
yeah,
The place was rocking. It was a saddle. It was like unbelievable. And
yeah.
I'm sitting at home, got the popcorn, got the cheesies, got everything going.
Oh,
I'm waiting for Willie, my man. And I basically, I didn't know what to tell you, Mike.
I was at training camp.
That was like what,
as an amateur
35
watching
seconds
it.
or something?
Yeah, and I was just like, oh my God, I could not believe it.
Like, I don't know,
This guy's
man.
invincible, right?
Yeah,
But you know what? He did well for himself afterwards. You know what? He
did.
He won
What-
a
what-
couple fights after. Now he's a judge. He was a lawyer. Now he's a judge in Calgary. So good for him.
That's awesome.
Well, there's
Like Judge-
two different roads. You got a
Judge
guy,
Mills
Sean
Lane.
O'Sullivan, with a silver medal, kind of went the one way, and then you got Willie DeWitt, and
Yeah.
kind of went the other way. He's very successful in life.
That's awesome. We talked about a referee. I do a segment about referees.
Neil's got a great connection, obviously.
Got a froze.
Actually,
Intermission.
we talked about commitment and courage needed to go into the ring. But after you stopped your amateur career, you went into running a bar, a pub.
Yeah.
And as an entrepreneur, I would imagine
go.
that takes the same amount of commitment and courage. You gotta have both to run small business like that.
Yeah, and that's something you wouldn't want to be running right now until the small business is
No.
taking a beating. And I feel really bad for them. So I encourage everyone to go to their local restaurants or pubs or whatever after this, and if you can do takeout during this, to support them, because those are the diehard guys, and keeping those local pubs rocking, and keeping them alive, and keeping the economy alive with employing people as well.
Was that in Niagara by the Lake or Niagara Falls proper?
We're in Niagara Falls. So it was called the Highlands Happen for 21 and a half years.
Wow.
I opened up.
Wow.
Yeah. And then just, with being a real estate agent and city councilor, I had enough. It was too overwhelming. You know what I mean? It was, it wasn't fun for me anymore. That's for sure.
Right.
Yeah. I miss
Sorry,
it.
Neil.
I miss the people that come in, but you know what, we just closed it, so it wasn't like we had to close or anything like that. It was, and you know, I remember the day after we closed, I said, sorry guys, you know, I had to make it one of the toughest decisions of my life and close the bar. You know, just in the best interest of myself and everyone. And people are like, oh man, that was, and now it comes up, you know, on your year or two anniversary of closing the bar. He's like, yeah, I met my wife there. I did. It's like,
Yeah.
It's like, you know,
Yeah. There was a lot of,
together.
yeah. There was a lot of good friendships made there, I'm sure.
I remember watching, you know, Canada win the gold medal in the World Juniors and
Yeah.
a lot of
World
great
Juniors
sports.
is coming up. Hey, Mike, World Juniors, let's go,
It
boys.
was great. Yeah, you know what?
Get her done.
Something we need to watch. It's something entertaining that we need.
Some of my
now.
favorite stuff, the amateur stuff. Funny enough, Mike, it's just a personal thing I want to tell you. Over my whole life, I've always loved amateur sports, like be it boxing, anything where the amateurs are involved, World Juniors, that sort of stuff. You know what I mean?
The Final
I
Four.
always found that when you're
it.
not playing for money, you're playing for your heart, that you actually can accomplish some amazing feats.
Yeah, no, for sure. I remember in the '92 Olympics when that's the first time the Dream Team came. So you saw the guys, Michael Jordan, and that. It
That
wasn't
basketball team.
It wasn't if they were gonna win. It was by how much they were gonna win. Right?
Yeah, wasn't much chance for anybody at that point.
No, it wasn't. You know, I think you know, it's
a little bit of a stacked team.
Yeah, they didn't even stay in the you know,
we got Magic Johnson,
Village.
Michael Jordan. What was it? Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, Patrick Ewing.
Oh, unstoppable.
Like it was like, and then they had Reggie Miller, and it just went on. Like I'm like, who does this? And then they're playing like Kazakhstan.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Really? Oh,
yeah.
well,
Just,
I don't know.
They could have played their, you know, C or D team, and
that's right. Their beer league team or something.
That's what we used to always say when we used to box against the Cubans, because the Cubans back then never turned pro. So, you know,
like
just
Stevenson,
like,
Teofilo Stevenson.
Yeah. So, you know, you get a couple tournaments where you're like, okay, you want to go to Cuba, Mike? And, you know, we had the option of sometimes, or you'd be like, okay, I don't feel up to it. But they're like, oh, you want to go to a tournament in Cuba? I'm like, you know what? I'll let the B team guy go.
Yeah.
Because those guys are unreal. You know what I mean? It's just
they
like
really
you have to be on your top notch form to, you know, have a chance at beating them possibly, but not getting seriously.
You don't get anything over on them. Put it that way. No,
definitely. That they're like pros, right? They're you know, like the old Russians and that, when you know, that communism where they're making people train to feed their families. You know what I mean?
Sure, man. So listen, let's move on to a little bit about what you've been doing recently in the last few years. Everybody out there, guys, Mike's a big humanitarian. He's got a charitable company that he's donations. You know, he takes donations. Box Run, it's right there on his shirt, guys. Guys, go and look at Box Run. Mike is the, I guess you're
boxrun.org is the website.
Boxrun.org, guys. So, and you're the founder, is that correct, Mike?
Yeah. So how it all kind of sorted out is after the '96 Olympics, a good friend of my dad's, Bob Lavelle, and his nickname was Heater. And Heater worked for Bell Mobility, and he helped me out. You know, he had this Olympic phone program where he give you a cell phone to keep with media, but he actually helped me out through the city because he was from Niagara Falls, and he helped raise some money. And I was training in Toronto, and you know, he was the reason probably that I got to go to that third Olympics and win the second gold medal to Commonwealth Games because of his help. But shortly after 2000, when I retired, you know, I was working and coaching a little bit at the gym, and Heater, his nickname, he asked me if I wanted to go to the 2008 Olympics in Beijing because his niece, which is Donnie Lever's daughter, was competing for baseball.
Right.
So he asked me to go. I said,
Don Lever, the hockey player, Don Lever?
Yes. Yeah. So that's his brother-in-law. So he asked me if I want to go. I said, I'd love to here. He goes, Bell's going to take care of it. I'm like, wow. So I'd love to go to Olympics, be a spectator and have fun, right? Instead of competing, it'd be nice. So, you know, I waited a couple weeks. I was trying to make arrangements. So I phoned Heater back and I said, Heater, I haven't heard from you. He goes, oh, I got this pain in my back. You know, it's really brought me back down to my knees. The pain's so bad. And I said, wow, you better get that checked out. So he was going through scans, and then he phoned me back and said, you know, we can't go. I got diagnosed with cancer. And, you know, in the end, it was there's a cancer you don't want. It's probably pancreatic, and that's what he was diagnosed with. And
Wow.
8 short months later, he ended up passing away, and I was just devastated. He did so much for charities, kids, helping Olympic athletes. I remember he helped me. He helped a lot of Brian Stemmel. He helped a lot of different guys that he really liked. And so I decided I wanted to do this Heaters Heroes Run for Children in our local park. And so we would just basically, our mandate was to help kids with terminal illnesses or life-altering illnesses or injuries. So we had 13 kids that day, and we walk a lap with them, which is a quarter of a lap was like walking like a marathon with some of these kids.
That's correct. Yeah,
it was crazy. So I met these special kids, and
Mike, can I get involved in this? This is right down exactly the way I feel. What you just said.
So I met this little girl, Kelsey Hill, and she was from Fort Erie, and she had a tumor in her brain, and she just really, we were texting all the time, and just a special connection. And I remember a month after, in that same park, I pushed her around in the Terry Fox yearly run that they had. So I pushed her in her wheelchair, and she couldn't walk because of her brain tumor. But I thought of something the one day, and because we're doing something for volunteers for our event, and I thought, what, has anyone ever actually? Because I thought about Terry Fox and about these kids fighting cancer, and I said, does anyone actually
Terry, love you, man.
Continued Terry Fox's run to where he was supposed to go, because he made it near Thunder Bay, and we were Googling it. No one did it. So I said,
Mike, there's a question for you. I wanted to ask you. So you did the run from Thunder Bay to Victoria, correct?
Yes.
3,149 kilometers?
Yep.
Yeah. So was the reason being starting in Thunder Bay? I'm just assuming this. I thought about it. You started where Terry left off?
Yes, that was in Ashley.
So that was, I figured that one, yeah.
Well, 12 kilometers right before, a little town called Shunya, but it's right before Thunder Bay. But in the meantime, when I was training for this, we lost Kelsey, who passed away. So it gave me more drive. And then I met this kid, Matteo Mancini, who had the same cancer as Terry Fox, and he was actually losing his leg. And we were kind of talking with him and stuff like that. So we actually brought Matteo on the run with us. So he would actually have to come to each major point. So the first one was Thunder Bay, and then we bring to Winnipeg and Regina, Calgary, and then we're going to have him dip his leg in the ocean in Victoria, like Terry Fox did 32 years before that. So Matteo was all gung-ho, because Matteo still had to go through treatment.
Yeah,
so we had to bring him back and forth. But so we brought him to Thunder Bay, and he was a little rock star. He had curly hair like Terry. And people loved him. And so we brought him to
I love him. I love Matteo already.
Yeah, so we brought him to Winnipeg, and wow, he was all over the TV. And Terry Fox's family was from Winnipeg, so it started getting a little bit of media, and they knew about the box run. And so when he flew back, he was coming into Regina, and we were waiting for him, and his mom, ironically, just says, phones us up and says, he can't come anymore. His cancer spread from his leg to his lungs, exactly like Terry Fox. And it was it was insane. And I didn't want to run anymore and anything like that. I remember me and my buddy Tim, who was on the run with me driving the RV and stuff. He would drive the RV 8.5 kilometers at run to it. We do that 5 times a day. But he would change. He would be getting the food, making everything, setting up school visits. And when we found out about me and Tim went to the bar, and we're bawling our eyes out. We're done. We're not doing this
I'm almost bawling my eyes out here.
Yeah. So we end up doing shots of Zambuca, to tell you this.
That's the only thing that saved you from bawling, I guess.
Crying, and then I actually think the bartender thought that me and Tim were breaking up or something.
So listen, apparently I wanted to ask you, so you were doing about 40 kilometers a day, right? When you were running this 40 kilometers a day, guys, try running 10 kilometers a day, never mind 40. And for how many days, Mike, was it? 84?
No, that was 81.
81 days straight of 40 kilometers, guys. Can you imagine, guys? Like, I can barely run. I can get to the fridge and back and stuff of that sort. But 80, okay. So anyways, did you run into any inclement weather or anything, obstacles that you?
Well, when you go that way, you're running into the wind. It is brutal. And then, you got Northern Ontario.
I never thought of that one, but yeah.
Northern Ontario is huge with mountains.
Coming this way and you're going that way.
Yeah, and then you go through Manitoba, which is flat, which you can see your RV 10 kilometers away, and it's not getting any closer. And then when you get into Saskatchewan with the wind and there's nothing there, and then Alberta, man, you like Rogers Pass, 42 kilometers uphill. It was insane. They don't even let cars up there in the winter. So we're running up on the highway on the shoulder road, and man, it was just crazy. But any time I felt like quitting or something, I get some kind of message from home or a letter or a phone call or something, Skype from a school, and it kind of lifted you up. And it felt like I had a little angel on both, Kelsey helping me out and Mateo. And actually, when I thought about quitting when we were in Saskatchewan, when I was talking about with Tim, the next morning I wake up with a really bad hangover, and Mateo phones me and he goes, I'll switch you if you want.
Yeah.
He goes, I'll switch spots if you want. I'm like,
yeah, really?
do I have a choice at that point, right? So
yeah, do you have any choice? No. All right.
Yeah.
Let's
But
do it.
we ended that run, and I did one leg in the ocean for me, one leg in the ocean for Mateo, and then we came back, and Mateo was at our party that we had, our welcome home, and we raised $100,000 on that run, and then shortly after, unfortunately, Mateo.
Guys, everybody needs to help Mike and the kids. I'm gonna do my best, Mike, and donate a little bit. Even if it's $1, $1 always.
Oh,
helps.
everything helps. Remember when Terry Fox, if every Canadian raised $1, right? And that's
Exactly.
and you can't
That's what
imagine
we're
where
talking
Terry
about.
Fox went years ago, right? If he would have had the social media that we do now, man, they would just
Imagine that, Mike?
unbelievable what he did. Unbelievable what he did.
It really is unbelievable. It's one of the things that in my life I will never forget, and I praise that man.
Yeah. No, exactly. He's our inspiration. You know what I mean?
He's our country inspiration. That guy,
Yeah.
he's our leader.
He is. You know what? And they say, who do you want on your $5 bill? We want Terry Fox. That's for sure.
I'm all in. I'll sign that right away.
Yep.
I think if
there should be a Terry Fox. There should be a Terry Fox holiday. There should be Terry Fox Day. It's a holiday.
Yeah, a Terry Fox holiday, stuff like that, guys. We should maybe get a little petition going about this. Mike, what do you think?
Well, they're doing it. I believe they're doing it with the $5 bill right now. They're trying to get him on. I don't know if it's confirmed or yet, but I'm hoping that Terry gets his face on that, because he deserves on any bill.
He deserves it. He did billboards, things that fly in the sky, like those trailer, anything that Terry Fox involved. I'm all in. That guy, I cry when I think about that, because that is probably one of the absolute historical things in the history of Canada to me. And I was just a kid when that happened. And I was mesmerized and glued to the TV every day watching him.
Yeah, well, and then the further on to that story, so Mateo ended up passing away. So I was a pallbearer, and I decided, that very day, I said, I'm doing something next year for him. So I decided to run from the other way, from St. John's, Newfoundland, all the way into Niagara Falls. And it was 94 marathons, 94 days. But on their fourth day,
we were going to talk about that. What was that all? Okay, can you say that again, guys? Listen to this, Mike, slower a little bit. What was it? 94 what?
94 marathons in 94 days. So
did you hear him? That was that is unheard of.
Yeah.
Has anybody ever attempted that? Even attempted it?
I think there was some older couple in Australia that did 100 marathons in 100 days, I believe. I don't know if it was running, or I think it might have been walking or whatever, but still, it's whatever it is. But I remember Newfoundland was just like, you get 4 seasons in one day there. But I remember on our fourth day, so I didn't mind staying in the RV, but I preferred not to. So we had this guy, Ko Kamiso, who's a friend of cousin of Dominic Filane, a teammate of mine from Schreiber, and he would be connecting with hotels, trying to get me rooms so I didn't have to stay in the RV. So he ended up on the fourth day. He goes, "Oh, we got you a special hotel." And they're keeping it quiet. Like, where are we staying? So we end up going. We're staying at the Morelands Hotel. I'm like, okay, whatever, right? In Newfoundland. So I go in there, and I can't remember the room number, but the owner of the hotel comes out. He goes, "Here's the key." He goes, "That's a special room." I'm like, "What do you mean it's a special room?" Because that's the same room. That's the same room that Terry Fox stayed in 34 years
Holy
ago.
Moses! Really?
And I don't think they changed the furniture either, because it looks
you want to keep it pristine.
Yeah.
That's like, that should be like a museum with, what I mean?
My God. I was just like, geez. And he's so big. That's, we're in you go to Newfoundland, we're talking to schools, and they have Terry Fox emblems everywhere.
The guys in Newfoundland. Thanks a lot. We love you in Newfoundland. I'm a Scottish Newfie, so what do you know what I mean?
Oh, they're just amazing. And they would stop on the side of the road, handing me $20 bills because it'd be constantly on the news. You know, in Newfoundland, they only had like 4 stations or whatever. So they're coming and constantly and it was just amazing. The people there
I
and
can
the
just
love they
imagine
felt.
the people along the way of that 94 marathons in 94 days. Like, I mean, I watched the New York, what do they call it? The New York City Marathon or the Boston Marathon. So the distance that you were doing consecutively was the same as that?
Some of them were the same and some of them were more, depending on where we had to go to, right?
Oh, so, more. Just do a little more.
And then our kilometers on our RV
really
weren't similar measured to what we were measuring. So we were actually running 500 meters more every time on a marathon. So you add that up over 94 days.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You add up the extras.
Yeah.
But like the OT, you were in OT those days.
Yeah, exactly. Well, at one time, because I wasn't supposed to be in the one place in Quebec, because Claude Lambert, another boxing teammate of mine, set up this whole big fundraiser and stuff for Repentigny. And so we got there too fast. So I had to do one marathon in a like that, and then the next marathon, I didn't go anywhere, but I had to run a marathon. So I ran basically in a crazy 8.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it was just, it was ridiculous. But I had some fun time. You know what? And this run, we kind of learned from the first run. So we had a lot of guys who would actually run with me that would be raising money. So it was great. And getting company, right? Because the mental part of it was even worse than the physical part, being by yourself all the time. And it was horrible. You know, it's too much time to think.
Yeah, no, I know. You start thinking, your mind starts thinking to yourself. So you think going a little
my
weird.
girlfriend made up this music list for me, and this was in the first run. But so I was at one point, I'm listening
earbuds or something. You just run with the
same music. You know what I mean? I'm listening to Running on Empty, Jackson Brown.
Oh, really?
Against the Wind, Bob Seger. I'm listening to anything it's going to inspire me. But it got to about in Saskatchewan, Alberta, where I'm counting songs to every 8.5 kilometers. So 12 songs, I should be getting 8.5 kilometers, and I should see my RV. So there'd be some times where I'm at 16, 17 songs. I know I've gone more than 8.5 kilometers. And I go in the RV and I slam the door and I'd yell at Tim. I said, "What the hell is this? It's just like way more than this." You know what I mean? He goes, "There was no shoulder of the road, Mike. I couldn't tell you. I'm not going to stop and tell you. I just rode up." And we laughed about it after.
Right on, guys. Check that out.
I grabbed my music.
Mike, this is amazing, man. Thank you so much for coming.
My music, I threw it in the RV. I didn't listen to any music after that. Because you know what? It's
that's it.
And then I was taking in like any kind of noise, highway, birds, whatever. I was taking it. You know what?
Right, sure.
Did you ever get to
try to get a little more nature into you there?
Well, driving across Canada, hardly anyone gets to drive across Canada. I'm running across, take it all in. You know what I mean? And it made time go faster, if you wouldn't believe it. Yeah, by taking.
It must have been a hell of an experience, actually. Like, if you were to drive from, say, Newfoundland to Victoria or whatever it is, the full distance. Running it would be a way different experience than driving in a car or taking the train. I don't. How was it? How was that? You're actually visualizing everything right in front of you, second to second.
Yeah, well, you get all these truck drivers out and they're throwing. You got a lot of pee bottles on the side of the road, coyotes, deer, whatever. So you're trying to think of different things to keep you occupied, right? And a lot of, Saskatchewan, all you're seeing is cows and bulls, right?
What's out there, Mike? I had never been there.
So it's just where every city is linked here in Ontario. It's not like that in Saskatchewan.
Right.
So
listen, let's talk about the one more thing that I was going to ask you about was this. Apparently, you and a couple of your buddies went to Switzerland. Is that correct? And you guys climbed like Mount Everest or something?
No, we were attempting
that kind of size, guys. The guys now Mike decides he wants to climb.
No,
Mount Everest size.
It wasn't even my idea. It was actually a fellow counselor, Vic Peter Andrew. I don't even like heights.
Who does that?
Yeah. So
what did they say? What did they say? Oh, you want to do that this weekend?
And you went, sure. So how we're training up the Niagara Gorge. That's how we were training. It was ridiculous. Really? Like we would have a chance.
And you're going to Switzerland. We're going training at the Niagara Gorge.
Yeah. So we went. We called it the box climb, and we all had people with us, leads with us, and teams and stuff that we would go. And they were all like tethered together, right? We're tied together.
Sure.
But so we end up doing
Like, how did that work? Yeah, like, what'd you guys do? You just landed in Switzerland, went to this mountain. It was called what, the Brett Horn or something? Breithorn?
Yeah, we
And
we
it's
flew into
beside the
Switzerland,
Matterhorn.
took the train. We went into Matterhorn, which is
Yeah.
the mountain on the Toblerone bar. If you ever
Right.
see the Toblerone, you see the
Yeah,
mountain.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
So this thing is just unbelievable.
I
Like I
guess.
got no words. So we climb up.
Ski down, or
practice-
how'd you get down? You skied all the way down, or what'd you
Yeah, no, you got to climb down too. So we climbed up.
Oh.
It was this
Oh
mountain
my
called
gosh.
the Breithorn, which was about
do? Breithorn, that's it. Yeah.
yeah, the Breithorn. So
How tall
We
is
went
that
up-
thing?
I'm sorry.
How tall is the mountain?
Oh, it was up. I think there were what, I want to say 3,500 meters, I believe. It
Which
was
is what? What is that, Graham?
like 13,000 feet or something like that.
13,000 feet.
Yeah, but you go up and
Holy
these
Moses.
rocks are so like if you fall like 5 feet, you're breaking your arm.
Oh no.
So I go up and I'm telling you, I was shaking. Like we really had no experience. And we got through and I had the water bottle through there and the pouch was open. And so
Wow.
right away, my water dripped all the way down my back and I was hanging on the rock like this. And my water's gone for the whole day.
Oh my gosh.
So we got 7 hours. So I'm taking other people's water and I'm like, I am scared, man. My legs are shaking. This
Holy
is-
Moses.
Oh, you
That's
should
why,
see
when I
some-
read
wish
about that, I'm like, what the heck,
the
Mike?
pictures
Like,
and the video that we made on that was incredible. So
so you
anyway, we
had
got through that.
350 fights in your life and you were scared of a mountain.
Oh my God. You know, the only thing I have to worry about in running across Canada is maybe getting hit by a car. But
Right,
I fall 2 or 3 feet, I could break a leg here in these jaggedy rocks. And so we managed.
Right.
There was 4 of us. We managed to get through that mountain. So then we're lining up to get to the Matterhorn, which it's top 5 in the world. The Matterhorn.
What, you
Top
went and
5
did
in the world.
another one? You did 2?
So we did that. That was our training one. So then we go to do the Matterhorn on
Training
my
one was,
on my
my-
birthday,
holy Moses.
2016, August 6th. So we get up on August 5th. And just to get to base camp is a hike. It's like 3 hours. So we're going. We got caught in this huge winter storm. So we made
Exactly.
it. We made it
Not
to
exactly
the Matterhorn.
California up there, right?
No, God. And we made it to base camp. So you stay overnight and then you get up at 4 a.m. to basically go up because it's not
It's
going
out of
up a lot
control,
of time.
people. Like, really?
It's coming down is the hard part. A lot of them say.
Yeah. Wow.
So we woke up at 4 a.m. and the guy goes, "I don't think we're going to be able to do it, guys." I'm like, "What? It's like a blizzard out there. You can't see in front of you or nothing." So like, okay, we might be able to do a little bit of it. So we waited a couple hours and we couldn't do it. And we were
Right.
so disappointed and
Yeah.
a little bit relieved, I guess. So
Yeah.
anyways, we came down, walked down. And so the next day, which was my birthday, that night, 2 Italian climbers froze to death on that mountain.
Oh my gosh.
That
Really?
same night.
The
that
same
we were
night.
supposed to go. The same night we were supposed to go. So
Yeah.
we had this flag and
Are they like Sherpas or something? They call them Sherpas, those guys that help.
not there, but yeah, they have these leads. But these guys are professional. Sherpas carry your stuff and like on Mount Everest and stuff when you go to
Yeah, yeah.
Kilimanjaro and that. But these guys are like they tie you in and then we climb up and then you know what I mean. But these 2 professional climbers died. And what
Holy
we did
Moses.
is we had a flag we put on the Breithorn. We put all the names that we were climbing for all the kids. So there was about 50 names. And we did the same
Wow.
thing when we were running across
Holy
Canada. I would put a
Moses.
flag in after
Wow.
every marathon, put it on the side of the road because we don't know where we're going to start the next day, right? So you have
Right.
to have that flag. Like Terry Fox put a rock because
Oh.
you're going in your RV, you're not staying right on that spot in the highway. So you have to kind of
Yeah,
try to
gauge where
find
you
where you
stop.
start.
Where you, yeah,
so we
yeah.
would have so if you ever go by and you might see some Canadian flags along the highway, those are ours. We bought the dollar store flags.
Oh, really? Guys,
Yeah.
look out for the flags. Where are they? Where are they, Mike? Where did all the way?
All the way, all the way. Some
Holy
are
cow.
some poles. We left a flag up in Switzerland with the names up. But I think those kids were actually watching out for us, possibly by not letting us climb the Matterhorn on that day of my birthday. And
Wow.
yeah,
Well, I've heard in the past, Mike. I mean, there's been guys that have been trapped up there for days on end,
Oh, yeah.
and
I
they're
couldn't
on
imagine.
rock ledges, and they're running out of supplies, and the storms at that height they don't end. They go for days. They can't even bring in helicopters to rescue you because there's just too much wind and blowing snow, and you could get stuck up there, right, Mike?
Oh. And the thing is that the guys that we hired to bring us up, we actually asked them after the Brythorn. He goes, "Do you think we're gonna make it up the Matterhorn?" And they're kind of like, "You may have a chance." I'm just like, "What?" I'm like,
really? So they were too optimistic about your chances.
If these guys aren't confident that we're going to get up, I'm like, well, guys, I'm like, I don't even have my insurance policy written out yet. Like,
I was going to say, does your wife know you doing this stuff?
Oh, she goes, "If I ever do anything like that again, we're done."
Yeah, you probably gave her a heart attack and a half.
Oh my God. It was crazy.
She was probably terrified herself.
Oh, it was, well, she came up to
yeah, she must have been with you. Yeah, she must have gone
she did some photography. So she was there when we first left to go up to the base of the Matterhorn, and it was kind of like, "Okay, see you later." And then you go
see you later. Yeah, okay.
Just to go to the base, you go up and you see all these little crosses and plaques of people who have died there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Guys, what are we doing, man? Like, there's safer ways that we can be raising money than something like this."
So Mike, let us know a little bit now. How's the charity doing right now? Like, have you guys been?
We do pretty good. So, because we do this KO for Kids boxing event every year. Unfortunately, we couldn't do it this year, but we did it for 3 years. The last time we did the KO for boxing event, the KO for Kids, we raised $107,000. So this is just like Joe Schmo's boxing each other, like popular guys in the city. Sure. So myself and Billy Irwin and a couple other guys would help train these guys.
I love Billy Irwin. He's one of my favorites too.
So we get all together. We train these guys to box against, and they would box like 3 1-minute rounds, and but they raised so much money, and we couldn't do it this year, unfortunately. But I still end up we raised $20,000.
The pandemic? Was that what happened? The pandemic?
Yeah, we couldn't have any boxing events or any kind of events. Like a lot of charities are hurting. So for anyone to raise any type of money, they really get hit hard. The nonprofits and the charitable organizations.
So then are you allowed to do any kind of events for Box Run or?
No, well, I guess if the next one I was planning on doing was supposed to be in September. I was going to do it. I did the Box Run El Camino, which was called in Spain. That's the Camino de Santiago, and you do this. It's like a pilgrimage trail, and it's 30 days in September, which is Childhood Cancer Month. So I did that in 2018. So I was planning to do one again in 2020, but because of what happened, I couldn't do it. So myself and a few of the kids who have passed away, their parents want to do it with me next September. So we're hoping that we're going to be able to do that.
That'll be next year, 2021.
That'll be 2021. So I did the one Camino. We're trying to do the Camino Norte, which is along the water, and it's a little bit tougher route, but a lot of more hills. But it's
so what is it? 30 days, Mike? 30 days.
It's about 35 to 40 kilometers a day
for 30 days.
For 30 days, yeah.
Right.
That's and then you go on to this one part, which all the Caminos lead to this one part, which is the closest to the ocean. It's called Finisterre, and it means end of the world.
Right.
So when I did that the first time, I brought and it's beautiful. Oh my God, the sunset comes in, and there's this big, huge rock there, and for Box Run colors, which are black and gold. So I painted the whole rock, and then I put all the kids' names in it. So there was 30 30 days, so 40 children. So I dedicate each day to 2 or 3 children that were fighting or have passed away from cancer.
Wow, man, that is absolutely amazing. Like, guys, I don't know if it gets any better than this, Mike. You're making me cry.
Yeah, you think of different unique ways and
you're making me cry in a good way, because we don't forget the kids, and I mean, you've done so much for them, and going forward, I'm sure you have all kinds of great plans to continue. You know what I mean? Like you're saying.
Yeah, and we try to think of different unique ways of doing stuff. And the last Camino I did was a lot of fun, and met a lot of people on the journey, because there's so many people doing it, but they're doing it for different reasons, whether they've lost a loved one or lost their job, or just mental illness or something like that, just trying to get through the day. And so it's a good way of doing something good and in honor of kids. And, some of these children, the way they live, they have never lived healthy, right? They don't know what
Yeah,
healthy feels
absolutely.
like. They think being sick is healthy because they've never known any other
They've
way.
never known anything different.
It's so sad.
Yeah, I've been afflicted by this. Some of my friends, their kids, they've been in hospital. We go and visit them, like born with a cleft palate, cancer, this, that, like all kinds of different things. So, guys, you should really be thankful that you know, we are the way we are. I always thank, you know, the man, and you know, just try every day to be a little better, eh, Mike? You know, just
Oh,
a little bit each day.
we've had some great stories, like Alex Louis, the little boy who passed away, but he inspired Alex Ovechkin to win the Stanley Cup. The story is unbelievable. So
Yeah.
Alex Louis, who he had to get his leg amputated, but he loved hockey, he loved Washington, he loved
Right.
Alex Ovechkin.
He loves
Ovechkin never
Ovi.
won a Stanley Cup, right? So
Right. Yeah.
so he goes to we hook him up. He was on Hockey Night in Canada. They hook him up and he goes, they're playing the Leafs in Toronto, which was perfect.
Yeah.
And Ovechkin says, I'm going to score a goal for you tonight, Alex Louis. So Alex in the crowd, he scores a hat trick.
Wow.
He goes on.
Oh yeah. That's the kind of player Ovi is. Ovi, you are
Exactly.
top notch, buddy.
And a couple months later, he did the same thing again for him, scored a goal for him. Then he wins the Stanley Cup MVP, and he brought his whole family down to
Holy
the
Moses,
Stanley Cup
really?
parade, which was unbelievable.
Wow. That is unbelievable.
Yeah. But I was never a Ovechkin fan, but he is one of my heroes now.
Got a big heart. You got to watch him play. He plays from the heart, right?
Yeah,
Wears his
absolutely.
heart on his sleeve. The guy, he gives it all he's got every shift, and he truly believes he makes a difference. So, and I think he does.
And he's
I'd
taking
love
the
to have
time.
you on my team.
Yeah, he's taking the time out to do something special for a kid, and in turn, this kid inspires him to win the Stanley Cup.
That's so inspiring.
I
just
should be
for
a
me to hear
documentary
that.
called The Two Alexes. It's unbelievable.
Beautiful. So I was going to ask you one more thing. We've all known there's one guy out there that they've considered Iron Mike. We all know who Iron Mike is, right? Do you?
Yep. Mike Tyson.
How come it's the wrong Iron Mike? In my mind, you're the real Iron Mike.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Iron Mike Sharp.
Yeah. That's right. Did you have any nicknames? Did your buddies, like, just in the gym and stuff, do you guys have like cool little names you used to call each other? Like, my buddy called me Neil the Deal. Honestly, this is how I got the name, guys. It has nothing to do with anything really, except I was playing cards and these guys, I didn't know what I was doing. So years and years later, they took all my money, and then eventually I won it all back by them teaching me. And then one guy goes, all right, you're Neil the Deal.
That's it.
So that's how that happened. It's basically it, right?
Yeah. No, I never really had a nickname. People always Strange. Hey, Strange. Hey, Strange. Hey, Strange.
That was it.
Quite fitting, I guess, you know.
Yeah, I guess. Well, that's cool. Like, you know, the trainers are strange. It's like when I worked on the railroad, nobody calls themselves by the first name. You're always called by your last name. So I guess because it is what it is, right?
They wouldn't know you if they call you. Yeah, do you know where Neil is? Like, who?
Yeah. Who? That's right. They don't say that. They go,
I know.
where's that guy? You know, where's that guy? You know what I mean? And we all call everybody by our last name. So it just is what it is.
Yeah.
The last little things, Mike, I really want to thank. I got a couple more questions for you, if that's all right.
Yeah, no worries.
This one is kind of like something I was thinking about because this is a different question, I think. So your surname, Strange, all right?
Yes.
Do you know what it's derived from and what nationality it's derived from?
Well, it's English. I don't know
I was going to say no more.
What's that?
Say no more.
Say no more. It's English, right? I'm a
interesting.
quarter English, quarter Irish, quarter Scottish, and quarter French.
Yeah. Well, that's it. I was going to say, because the only thing I could find out, honestly, about your last name, your surname, was that it's an old French word, right?
Oh.
And it means estrange.
Estrange.
Yeah, strange, right? Estrange. Estrange, right?
Oh, strange.
Yeah. So I just thought, you know. So so you're obviously a bit of French, and what was it again? What was that, Mike?
Irish and Scottish. So Strange.
Oh yeah.
Strange
Like
Crawley.
that, Mike.
There you go. Yeah. Crawley. Crawley,
That's
which is Irish. McRae, Scottish.
There you go. Yep.
And what was last? Oh, and Doucette.
Well, funny enough, I'm a McRae and a McNeil.
Yes, McRae. Are you a McRae?
Right. Yeah, I'm a McRae.
Well, we could be related. See that?
We probably are.
There you go.
right? And it's CRAE, correct?
Yes.
That's it. We're brothers.
There you
Actually,
go.
can you imagine this, Graham? Mike Strange is actually in my DNA.
All right. See that? That means you're going to have to come on to the next adventure.
I'd love to, man. Like anything I can do to help Mike, I'm all in. I don't know about the Matterhorn. That might be a little bit of a stretch for me.
I'm out of mountains. I'm done with the
Okay,
mountains.
thanks. Because
But-
I'm not good with heights, but I'm good with everything else.
Yeah, Caminos to do 30, 40 kilometers a day, running, walking, whatever. I'm in. All good.
Yeah, right on. So listen, Mike, I want to really thank you for coming out. Guys, this has been a fantastic interview, Mike. I want to thank you.
Thank you, Neil. It's a pleasure telling my
really
story.
looking forward to learning more about Box Run, guys. Boxrun.org. Go check it out. $1. It's a coffee. It's a half a Tim Hortons coffee. That's all.
That's right.
Come on, guys. Let's get a little GoFundMe thing on Neil the Deal, whatever it is, Graham. $1 per person. I'm in for $2 every day. You know what I mean? So I'm like donating tomorrow, Mike. At least $2. You know what I
I
mean?
appreciate that, Neil. Everything counts. It's awesome.
Yeah, man. So it's been a dream of mine to meet you kind of guys like you and Mr. Olson, Mr. Irwin, Mr. Boucher, Mr. Lewis. Like, I don't know, man. I was just a little kid living out here in Mississauga, and I used to watch fighting all the time, and Graham knows. I'm not a very good fighter, to be honest with you. I can hold my own, but I just saw the amazing athleticism that you guys have, the dedication, the patience, the training, the this, and like it goes on and on and on. So we all have to thank Mike and all his buddies, like the Olympic guys, anybody who even, tried, Mike, you know what I mean? At least they tried, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you know what? It's nice to be remembered and nice to share the stories with some of the other guys too, because we all had fun times on these trips too. Whether we win or lose, we always had good times and cheering each other on, and memories we'll have forever.
Absolutely, man. And you know what? You'll always be in my memory, man, forever. You know what I mean? Like, you really, hey, I'm Scottish. We're related now. Like, this is a different style. This is ridiculous.
If we can't
guys.
fight, we can drink, right?
Wow. Well, listen, I'm not too far from Niagara Falls, so I'm going to come and see you. And best of luck in your political career. I know that you're. I definitely. I read about Mike's political, and I have the same view. No wonder we're related. I'm exactly the same guy. So the environment is my big thing. Humanitarianism, guys. The seniors are Mike. The seniors are suffering.
we have a home
I
here in
understand
Niagara
this year,
Falls.
Mike. They got a.
We have a home here in Niagara Falls. We have 90 residents and 30 workers. And, we got Niagara Health is looking after them, but it's just so sad, right? It's just, I can't wait to be looking in the rearview mirror at this virus and get rid of it. And
That's correct.
Like about it when it's in the past, because it's ruined a lot of people's lives and a lot of people's businesses.
Yes.
Yep.
It's a worldwide situation we're dealing with here. We got to really, guys, we need to come together, and stay strong, Mike? And
that's it. That's the only way you're gonna get anything.
Stay positive, right? You got to. And
exactly.
I always say,
we live in a great
chaos
country.
has created opportunity. So, guys, there's opportunity out there. Don't give up. Mike never gave up. Like, he climbed the Matterhorn. Who does this?
The Brythorn.
The Brythorn and the Matterhorn. 2 of the 3 of them. Okay, guys. Well, thanks a lot, Mike. And I'm looking forward to having a coffee one day with you. I'd really like to come out to Niagara Falls and just have a coffee and sit down and say hi. It'd be
For sure.
It'd be one of my most prized moments, actually.
I appreciate that, Neil. Thank you very much.
And thank you very much, Graham. Thank you very much. And guys,
Thanks, Graham.
My pleasure.
guys out there, thanks a lot for the shares, the likes. Get some comments. If you have anything you want to ask Mike, I'm sure, Graham, we can get a hold of Mike and maybe we'll just comment on Mike's comments. I don't know.
Good.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
people might want to ask you something that I didn't ask you, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
No, I think we've covered your boxing career. We've covered the pub while you're having some technical difficulties.
Too bad we didn't have the pub. We can meet at the pub, eh?
And
Well, actually, it's a funny story because the band, I don't know if you know the band, the Trues. So the Trues
Absolutely, I do. I've seen them many
started
times.
at my bar, and they played a residence gig every Wednesday. So they're
Really?
actually playing tonight on TV. So looking forward to watching. We're a great group of guys, like unbelievable.
fantastic.
Every
I've seen
Wednesday, really, really good guys. They actually did the one video in my bar years ago. So great out east guys and
They're
good hearts.
fantastic. I love the Trues, and I saw them with Crash Karma. You remember those guys, Crash Karma?
Yeah, yeah.
Good old,
yeah.
my old buddies, Rock and Ronnie, Edwin, Mikey Smith, the drummer from the Tea Party, Jeff Burrows, and the big Zion on bass. Those guys were amazing. They went to Afghanistan. They played for the troops, that Crash Karma band, and I think they went with the Trues.
They might have. Yeah, the Trues are doing a lot of good stuff.
Trues are an amazing band, guys.
Good,
Thanks.
good-hearted
They do a
guys.
lot- Yeah, they do a lot of charity gigs, eh?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, those guys are top notch. I love them. I'm a big music fan. Love to sing. I just love it.
So speaking of the music industry, speaking of your last name, and speaking of cultural heritage, Andrew Cash was in a band called L'Étranger in the 80s. L'Étranger, so L apostrophe E. Yeah. So and I believe he went into politics himself here in Toronto. So a little bit of a music tie there.
I don't think. Yeah, my singing careers wouldn't be that good. So that's why I box, because I can't sing or dance.
I'll teach you how to sing if you teach me how to defend myself.
Perfect. Hey, you're on.
All right.
Cool. Well,
thanks very much. Thanks a lot, guys.
Yeah, thanks very much for joining us, Mike. I really appreciate it here on TalkinFight. It's great. Thanks very much, Neil, for conducting that interview. That was awesome. I don't think there's anything else unless you've got something else to say, Mike.
All good. I just appreciate you guys bringing me on. Appreciate it.
Thanks very much. I appreciate it. And thanks to the viewers for hanging in there.
One quick little thing there, Graham.
Yep.
Again, guys, boxrun.org. All right.
Yep.
For Mike, for myself, let's get involved. Let's all come together. We need this. As a country, we need to come together. All right. And it starts with boxrun.org. So let's do it.
For the kids.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Mike.
Thanks
a lot,
Mike.
eh?
Thank you. Thank you.
Top left, Mike. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
I love you, man.
Thanks, Neil.
You're welcome, man. How was it? Good?
Yep. We're still live, though. Still live. No swearing.
Yeah, it's all good. Hey, guys. How are you?
Okay. Just one quick reminder for the viewers.
Sure.
Got these boxing gloves that we're giving away. We're starting to draw the names, I believe, on Christmas Day, December 25th. We've got a huge database of people who have liked and shared and subscribed. And our producer's telling me we've got that database of people. We can start giving these gloves away now. Alrighty, so I'm gonna head off now. It's probably, we've been on the phone for an hour and a bit, so time to go.
All right, Graham. Thanks a lot. Hey, guys, thanks for watching tonight live. Neil the Deal. I appreciate all the likes, all the comments, all the shares, all the views. We're coming up with some bigger guests all the time. That was one of the biggest ever for me, guys. So check that. That was amazing. Like, Graham, that was amazing. So check out the whole Mike thing, Mike Strange. If you guys haven't, check out boxrun.org again and get involved. All right. Thanks for coming out. I really appreciate it. And Merry Christmas to all. All right. And best of luck to you in the new year if we don't see you until then. And all your future endeavors, hopefully they're good ones. All right. So be safe out there.